Please stay tuned. Yada, 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 yada. Okay. We should be live again. Go back to our channel and refresh.
All right. Shut down YouTube.
I see the default thumbnail. Yep.
Relaunch YouTube.
Yeah, I see it there. All right. Let me this is why you got to make sure that you're joining our Discord, because you got to be able to catch the updates when they happen. Let me see here. Announcements. Glitch fixed.
Let me see. Yep, we fixed it.
Yeah,
You can hear yourself in the background.
that's right. All right, so glitch fix. There we go. If you're in the Discord, that's how you get these updates. That's why you got to be there.
Got to be in the Discord, guys. Get in there.
In case Emu decides to fuck our nuts. Yeah, I don't know exactly when it cut off. I'm guessing when we had to do that hard restart or whatever before that. But yeah, I'm going to pull it back just a little bit and we can get recapped. Rob's going to try to join us later. It sucks that it had to reboot like that, but it is what it is. I don't know what else to do.
Door to door. And I personally believe that freedom of
movement try to
is
continue.
A natural right. I think we should be free to move in this world across borders. And so when I look at the situation with like the border crossings, I look at a border crossing as a victimless crime. I mean, this whole narrative that libertarians on the right talk about how they steal welfare is actually just not true. I mean, libertarian or immigrants pay $1.34 in welfare.
That was fun. Yeah, we need to get a new service.
So I don't know.
That's where I'm at right now.
I don't know if that answers your question. That's the way I
2 streams in a row. I'm not happy.
So, like I said with the qualified immunity thing, if we had a loser pay system, it makes sense to get rid of it, make sure the cops get lawsuit insurance, and they have to deal with that. But as Ron Paul once said, you can't have open borders and a welfare system. And we are seeing the consequences of that every day. You talk about overall immigrant stats. Don't think I didn't notice that. About how overall immigrants pay $1.34 for every dollar they take out in welfare. But that's because certain immigrants from certain places that mostly come legally or on these special visas, which are legally, by the way, they earn a ton of money. They earn more than the average American. These are the high value immigrants or high income earner immigrants. But right now what we're seeing, and this is by design, Joe Biden said and promised that he wanted these people to surge to the border.
Yeah, we're going to OBS tomorrow night.
These people are coming in and they're claiming asylum. And while under normal circumstances, they shouldn't be eligible for different welfare programs, go check out the Roosevelt Hotel, or I forgot what that island is in between us. It might be Roosevelt Island. They have these migrant shelters here. If you're a New York City taxpayer like I am, unfortunately,
they're in New York,
you're paying for this. They're cutting budgets for citizens for these people. So yeah, it's all fine and dandy to vote for somebody like Chase Oliver, who's advocating for an Ellis Island-style immigration system, but we don't have the circumstances that we had under Ellis Island. If you claim asylum fraudulently, you're incentivized to do so, there's no more remain in Mexico, then you are guaranteed a certain level of benefits, and you will go to the cities, as we've seen, where you get those benefits. And that's the problem.
Is this the gay-only debate series? This is first contestants. Come on, AJW is not that gay. Come on, you gotta give some credit where it's due. He's been holding his own. Equals the gay one.
People that come here,
come on, Leighton, get with it.
Fix that problem.
Well, if they're already here in the asylum system, if you defrauded it, I want you to face the consequences of that, because there are legitimate asylum seekers in the system that are being flooded by all these people who are economic migrants. Like, we have a system for economic immigration. It's not great, but that doesn't mean you break the law and just come here anyway and then claim asylum and take up all these benefits.
All right, let's get to our 5th question. Please go ahead.
This is involving you, Josh. How can we expect Kamala Harris to keep our nation out of more foreign wars? Like, for example, Gaza is never ending, and Israel, in fact, has already invaded, like, Lebanon as we speak. And the Ukraine war is still ongoing for, like, 2 years since. How should we expect her, as our expected presidential-elect, to like keep us out of more wars, like China or Iran?
This argument we made on
China. The look at this situation is, I mean, we could look at the Biden-Harris outcomes of the Biden-Harris administration. I mean, we did end a war in Afghanistan, a war that Trump never ended. We did radically cut
horribly.
I think Donald Trump killed 18,000 or committed 18,000 drone strikes to Biden's 500. One of the things that I believe, and this is controversial in libertarian circles, is that helping our allies like Ukraine, especially when they're fighting a war against
He's a man of the world.
authoritarian country that tries to annex them, providing them with help, if it's overseen by Congress, is a way for us to avoid boots on the ground. And for that,
Bro, fuck you, dude.
Suck a dick, Josh Eakle.
Foreign interventionism is never good. I don't care if we're helping someone, if we're hurting someone. It doesn't fucking matter.
Nope.
The answer is
Doesn't
no.
help.
The answer is no.
Not just no. Fuck no.
Yeah, fuck you and fuck everyone.
Suck a dick. Fuck you, pay me, pussies.
Yeah, no way, dude. Trump is the reason it ended. They couldn't extend it. Yeah. That opinion makes me gag. Dude, Josh Eakle is a man of the world. He believes in the United Nations. He believes it is a force for good. He believes in NATO. He believes in, like he's saying right now, getting involved in Ukraine and all these other countries for the benefit of democracy. Here we go. Yo, I paused it too long. I fucked it up again, boys. Look. Those of you that came back, thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties. On election night, we will go to OBS no matter how difficult it is.
Helping our allies like Ukraine, especially when they're fighting a war against authoritarian country that tries to annex them, providing them with help, if it's overseen by Congress, is a way for us to avoid boots on the ground. And for that reason, I think that that approach is. It's not a pro-war approach. I think it's more of a pro-peace approach.
Sean, would you like to comment? All right, let's take.
Bro, late, you're crazy, man.
Hello. Question for
you make
both.
good points, but it's also a good ending statement.
Question for both. Focusing on the Libertarian to support Kamala over Trump.
Yes.
How would you
It's
go
just
forward in the local
Kamala.
areas, essentially thinking their support, their backing, their involvement with the greater government for their local government to the local.
You're right about that, Chase. I did see that
such
in
as
the
with immigration. My local.
You're right about that, Chuck. Sorry,
You're
right about that. I did see that in Chase's platform.
In my
like
former
you said,
building
man.
there. But for
He
my
leaves
area,
the door open for
we're more of
interventionism.
a community that we are involved.
Not
We
a
do
good look.
helping in enough people as it is. Not too far out my community, we have a lot more issues with homelessness, which from some of us going on the federal level, we have
Homelessness,
all
not to
statewide
be confused with
homelessness.
holelessness, the absence of
In
females.
focusing with Kamala as the support,
We got a lot of
how would you
homelessness.
believe this goes forward
Homelessness
on
is
our
less than y'all
representatives,
think. I know
not
you're
just our
libertarians, but there's a lot of
lawmakers,
hoes out
even our
there. Y'all
mayors
just
and
ain't paying
governors
attention.
going into our fixing our local issues.
I'm gonna take that one, Sean.
Yeah. So yeah, one of the so I did suggest voting locally for better candidates for certain issues that are contained by the local government, but unfortunately, immigration is a federal issue. And in fact, if you try to enforce immigration law as a local government, if you think that's a good strategy, then you will face federal persecution for that, which we've seen with Texas, with their barriers and all that. The thing that I fear is, he's talking about how they're going to put forward a pathway to citizenship, and that's going to solve this problem. I think that will incentivize more people.
Yes,
we'll end up with
I'm
this
a conscious entity.
underclass, and then we'll have the pressure for a pathway.
I'm
to
also a
citizenship
subconscious
all over again.
entity.
I think
I'm
that's
multiple.
the result of the Reagan thing. But the thing that I fear
I'm multidimensional
is that
right
even the
now.
pathway to citizenship.
He's bi-conscious. He's
Indeed.
He's non-conscious. Wait,
I'm non-binary with my consciousness.
That's right.
I'm neither conscious nor non-conscious.
That's right. We are not AI avatars on Twitch. Like, there's so many, dude. There's so many. I've noticed lately, there's so many like AI anime waifu bots on Twitch right now. We are not that. If you can't
Ice cream
tell.
so good. Ice cream so good. Ice cream so good. Ice cream so good.
However, I do have the ability to stick my hand through the screen and appear on the other side.
Oh man! Oh shit! Fuck yeah!
Isn't even going to happen because
Magic.
basically saw
Show him some of your
Kamala, who was
superpowers,
in charge
you know?
of the border
My
for
superpowers, you
like
mean
the first
like
3.5 years of the Biden administration.
fireworks?
Ignore this issue. Say that there was
And
no
then,
crisis.
if
oh,
I'm not
they're running out of
happy,
resources
we can make
in
it rain on these
everybody's
hoes.
communities.
Yeah,
That doesn't exist. I'm in Guatemala. I'm talking about root causes.
It was something.
Come see me later
There
about
it
the
is.
border.
Balloons?
And if they can just ignore that major issue for 3.5 years, suddenly pretend to care about it, and then win elections
Suddenly.
based on that, then that doesn't incentivize them to fix that problem. That incentivizes them to go right back to ignoring it. So I feel like that issue is
Incentivize
going
them
to
to give
get
you lip
significantly
fucking
worse.
service.
We're not going to get a pathway
Yeah.
to citizenship. He even said Republicans are likely to retain the House of Representatives in this election. So we're just going to end up with more and more people flooding the system. Because make no mistake about it, and I'm sure everybody's savvy enough to know this, the only reason that she's talking about this is because it's a top issue in the election, and Trump polls way better than her on this.
On
For the first time in
immigration, yeah.
American history, mass deportations had a majority, not a plurality, support from the general population.
Specifically on immigration,
He's winning the debate.
Quick response, and then we'll take a
Yeah.
couple more questions and call it for the Q&A session. Please go ahead.
yeah. So
I did see
actually, I
that.
just
Mark,
lost
but
my
I'll
train of
talk about
thought.
it later.
Specifically on immigration, I don't think it would be in the worst interest of Kamala Harris or the Republican Party or the Democratic Party to take immigration out of the news. I mean, it's like one of the major things that cause the Republican Party to lose their minds every year. But Biden, repatriated 5 million people, which is the most president has repatriated since George
People who
W.
left
Bush.
America and came back. Okay.
Border crossings right now are at a 4-year low. Border crossings over the summer were at the same level that they were in June of 2019. I would look at, actually, one of the things that
I thought you were open border.
Who wants to see an open Ellis Island style immigration system
Yeah.
is I have seen Kamala move closer to the Republicans' position on this, tightening up asylum rules and tightening up the restrictions. But immigrants are not, it's not
Kamala
a zero-sum
can't
game.
tighten.
Like, when
She's
immigrants
blown
come
out.
into the country, they're usually coming here because we have an excess of jobs. I mean, if you look at immigration and map it over the amount of open jobs in the economy, there's typically a correlation there. I mean, when you look at just the last 4 years, they're coming here.
No,
to
you're
work.
reminding me of something I
Their
need to
demand
do.
raises
Oh,
the cost
no.
of living for everyone else. Because
It's
they're here
okay.
to
I can do
consume,
it on
to
the side
do
here.
things. And so, yeah, I mean, I hope the Republican Party and Donald Trump doesn't do what he did last year by trying to shut down an immigration bill or some sort of bipartisan solution. It's possible that he will. Even if he's not president, he might try to shut it down again.
All right, let's take one more question from the audience on civil, and then we'll take a couple more questions, but you'll have to address them in your closing remarks because we're running out of time. Please go.
We're at 8:45, so should we just go down the line?
We got 20
maybe?
minutes.
Go with the civil question.
20
Okay.
minutes.
Sounds good. Yeah, so there's a number of questions on civil about the character of Kamala Harris, specifically addressed to Josh. Like, do you really think that she's being a truthful person, that she would be a good
Damn.
president?
That
And
bitch
two,
lying.
what do you think about the fact that she skipped the primary system in terms of electorally and was just chosen by the party?
You know, it's impossible to look into somebody's mind. As I said, didn't support Kamala in 2020.
Stop being gay.
I think that the fact that she's not ideologically possessed is probably a good thing because she's going to follow the incentives. So if she moderates and she gets more support from moderating, it's likely going to pull her towards the center. The last thing I want to see is an economic populist, like a far left in the president. I want to see somebody who's much closer to the center than to Bernie Sanders. And I think that she's not ideologically possessed. So I actually think that's a win because we can make sure that the incentives are there to pull her away from economic populism.
I think it's good that she's not Bernie. I'll agree with him on that much. But but he's saying like he doesn't want an ideologue, and because ideologue carries with it like this derivative, or not derivative, but derogatory language. Like if you're an ideologue, you're implicitly bad because you're locked in your own ideology or whatever. This is not a benefit to Kamala Harris because she is controlled and she does whatever she thinks is going to get her elected, or whatever her controllers tell her to do, whichever side of that you want to fall on, that's fine. That's not better. I would prefer an ideologue, because if an ideologue comes to me and says, I am a socialist, I know where they stand, and then I can vote based on that, or I can make decisions based on that. I don't have to wonder what the political whims or winds are going to change, and this person is going to change their position or anything like that. I would much rather be certain in where a person stands rather than whatever. So like he's trying to use like an ideologue as like a pejorative. I don't think Trump is an ideologue. I think he falls into that category too, where he could be swayed one way or the other. I just think his range of how he can be swayed is more narrow than Kamala, where she is just a wide open. She's more wide open than her legs are. She'll do whatever they tell her, or whatever, she thinks is going to give her more power at the end. Like the same way he thinks about Trump, I think about Kamala. I'll try to continue again, but it's it's doing its thing. It's doing its thing. I said blown out. What did you think? You got to roll a joint or something? Is that what you said?
I'm still in the boat of like,
more support
I've had tons of support on why not to vote for Trump, but nothing to actually support Kamala. And
that was the proposition. Yeah.
Yes, and this is where I keep getting annoyed by this. So we've heard almost an hour and a half now of like debate. Yeah. But nothing substantial has really been sold to me on why to vote for Kamala. I've been sold tons on why not to vote for Trump from both sides.
Sure. Yeah.
AJW, Eakle, they both show me, hey, this is why you shouldn't vote for Trump and why you should vote for Chase Oliver. But nobody's actually sold me on why should I vote for Kamala and why should I give a fuck about her outside of she's a bitch.
Exactly.
From moderating, it's likely going to pull her towards the center. The last thing I want to see is an economic populist, like a far left in the president. I want to see somebody who's much closer to the center than to Bernie Sanders. And I think that she's not ideologically possessed. So I actually think that's a win because we can make sure that the incentives are there to pull her away from economic populism. The whole, democracy with Kamala Harris getting put on the ballot is like a big concern troll, like it's a threat to democracy. I hear this all the time from MAGA. I mean, MAGA screamed for years about how senile Joe Biden was.
And it was true.
And then Joe Biden, because he's not in a cult, listened to his party and stepped down.
Is that what happened?
And
is that really what happened?
Got the most votes.
Maybe not. Who knows? He can say whatever the fuck he wants at this point.
Parties are private entities. The last thing I want as a libertarian is the federal government stepping in and telling me how to run my private party. I dealt with this fight in Tennessee for years. I don't want the federal government involved in how these parties choose their candidates. So I don't look at it as anti-democratic, and I think delegates endorsed her. She got the most votes.
More democracy.
And Joe Biden, thankfully, is
he's an ass.
Not in a cult, so he quit. Unlike Trump, who is rambling, incoherent, talking about Arnold Palmer's slang at rallies. It's pretty crazy.
Sean,
how is it?
Yeah, just really quickly. Cenk Uygur got more votes than Kamala Harris in the primary.
Whoa!
She wasn't on any ballot.
Whoa!
Well then.
We're really going there. Wow, I know a lot of people were complaining about Biden being senile. Most of them were complaining about Biden Jr. So that they have a Democratic primary.
She's already dead. She's been dead since Kelsey's dead. Body there. Don't do it.
One of the reasons why is because she couldn't win a Democratic primary. I mean, the crazy thing about this, because she's raised over $1 billion, is that $30 million in Joe Biden's campaign coffers decided the nominee over 14 million votes in the Democratic primary because she was the only candidate Biden could transfer that money to. Mega party donors basically extorted him. Biden was saying that he's still in the race. Everybody's going to see the comeback, all of that. The man was forced off the ticket. And part of the reason why I'm rooting for Kamala to lose is just to read the book afterwards when these people are all savaging each other, because it was nasty to get him off the ballot. The man's wanted to be president his whole entire life. He's ran 87 times. He lost to George Washington. He is that old. He wanted to be president.
All right, you can address that in the closing statements. But let's get 3 or 4 questions quickly, back to back, and then you hopefully will be able to address those in your closing statements. Please go ahead and brief questions. Go.
So my question is on Section 230. So I know a lot of the candidates and politicians have called for essentially just completely scrapping it, where I would think we're better off essentially reforming it to where you have to choose if you're a platform and a publisher. So I was just curious what your thoughts are on what either candidate would likely do with their party or with different parties on that issue.
All right, next question. Thank you.
My question is, with industry globalization taking its hold in industry, and
write your question down,
the
bro.
Failure of Malay in Argentina.
Write this shit.
The failure of Malay. Okay.
Why would
what failures? Where are we seeing Malay have failures in Argentina?
vote for anything
Like,
else.
I got
other
motherfuckers
than,
in Argentina who
communism.
are like, this has been fucking great. I love this
let's
dude.
get to the next one. Thank you.
Okay, in 5
I
words
know
or
Argentinians.
less, what is the root of democracy?
That's
it.
And last two, if we can quickly.
Tyranny of the majority. That's my
Good
answer.
evening, gentlemen. My question is more about, I guess, more for Josh on this one. Why would libertarians, maybe even moderate Democrats or anyone in between, want to vote for someone like Kamala when you have a lot of people who benefit from New York City's taxes, where there's a lot of programs and such, and they're going to illegal immigrants that are coming here, and it's not hurting just in one level. It's the federal, state, and city level, where it's pretty much having everyone want to pick Trump because what they see is that immigrants are coming in, they're skipping the line, and they're getting help. So
Skipping
I
the
guess my
line.
question is pretty much why would you vote?
All right, last question. Thank you.
Last question.
Thank you.
Little one.
Don't let my size fool you guys.
Uh-huh.
I've been hearing a lot about.
Don't let her size. Don't let her size fool
small.
you.
That's okay,
She can take
girl.
a big one.
She can take.
But I do
She can go
want
all
to know
in.
from both of you in regards to your perspective on what your candidate can do about China. I lived in South America
China!
for a year and a half, and the ongoing influence is kind of alarming. I'm also Hispanic, and I'm seeing that very much in Mexico, where I just came back from living from, where they're negotiating deals in terms of debating whether they should start trading
Oh,
with
hola,
the Chinese
español,
yen.
mami.
No, that's Japan, or I
Muy
could be wrong.
bueno.
Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, no bueno. I don't fuck. We don't
just
fuck
what
with
is
bueno
your
on this
candidate's
on
perspective
this
on that,
podcast.
and how they would help in terms
So-
of that growing influence.
Perfect. All right.
they're gonna
thank
try
you.
to answer
so
all
at this
these
point,
questions
we would
quickly.
like to ask Sean for
What's
his
milk
closing
toast
statements.
and
You have
what
5
ain't?
minutes. Just remember for the
Closing
last couple
statement.
questions, Section
Here we go.
230, isolationism. Somehow communism made its way back to this debate as well. And then immigrants and how to deal with China. So if you'd like, you can come and take the podium for the closing statement. 5 minutes.
Okay. Oh, you want me to take this one? All right, I'll take this one.
All right. I think pretty much I've made a solid case for not voting for Kamala Harris. I do want to address some of the questions that were asked. If I could borrow that paper so I could remember all of them, I'd really appreciate it.
Oh, he did take notes.
So Section 230 and so Section 230 I actually think is pretty valuable. It's the thing that prevents these platforms from being able to be sued based on claims that third-party users make. And yes, Trump has spoken out against Section 230 and about regulating social media companies, mostly in screaming in tweet form about them, but he took no action in that direction. As president, he threw an executive order that was ineffectual in like the waning days. Kamala Harris doesn't believe that Twitter should be able to have different terms of service than Facebook. So the idea that they're one is pure on this topic and the other isn't, to me, is ridiculous. Like, they're both not great. Again, maybe a reason to vote for a libertarian candidate.
There you go.
Oh,
Not
handwriting.
Kamala.
Jesus. Oh, for Argentina, I don't even know that one. I'm sorry, guys. So as far as why a single mother shouldn't,
I
vote
don't
for a
care about
teacher,
not America. Says
yeah.
Sean.
I'm sorry, a single mother teacher shouldn't vote for a communist. That's obvious. Don't vote for a communist. It's not going to improve your life. It's never worked. It's not going to work next time. It's not going to get better. In terms of China, we have one party that seems to be aligning closely with China more so than the other. Trump has strong rhetoric against China. I'm not somebody who's really into intervention. Unless it's absolutely necessary. But the fact of the matter is the Chinese gaining influence is at the expense of the American people. They are trying to gain influence to push us out of certain areas so that they can have, instead of one superpower, a dual superpower world. And I don't want to live under those times. That's what the Cold War was all about. So I actually think that Trump being China skeptic, and his tariffs are not the most libertarian thing. But remember, they were promised to bring inflation during his term. But what ended up happening was the manufacturing ended up moving to Vietnam and other countries in the surrounding areas. So the American consumer didn't pay all that much more, and we ended up weakening China, which was the objective. Now Trump is crazy. He thinks tariffs save the economy. I understand that, but the national security people around him had him use that power for national security. So yeah, I know I missed one of these questions, but I don't remember exactly which one. Oh, okay. As for Argentina, I don't think Milei has failed, by the way. The inflation has reduced dramatically under his term, especially compared to what he had. But Yeah, in conclusion, Kamala Harris, again, if you were to craft a libertarian candidate out of the mud, breathe life into her, it would still be an anti-libertarian candidate. It would still be more libertarian than Kamala Harris. If she was trying to knock it out of the park on how to piss off every libertarian, then I don't think anybody could have done a better job. She's basically the Barry Bonds on steroids, 73 home run year candidate for the antithesis of a libertarian.
Damn, bro.
In terms of immigration, again, the libertarian position is more open to immigration. But the fact of the matter is, the reason that we are in the problems that we have is because we have a welfare state. And like I said, as Ron Paul said, you can't have open immigration and a welfare state. Trump at least understands that. He wants to get rid of the people that are committing asylum fraud. He talked about them going door to door. Again, there's thousands of them in the shelter. That's like one door. And in fact, most of them are in tents. So I don't even know how you would knock on a door like that. Pretty easy, pretty simple solution right there. And yeah, so Chase Oliver, great platform. I would definitely recommend voting for him, especially if you're in a non-swing state. It definitely helps the Libertarian Party. But if you want to vote for Donald Trump, I think you have a more solid libertarian case. Again, unless your primary issue is the events of January 6th and all of that nonsense, which, by the way, was like the one Republican riot. Not to mention all the riots that happened under the Democrats.
Thank you.
And by the way, Kamala Harris, even though the Biden-Harris administration is prosecuting the hell out of the January 6th riots, some cases deservingly so, they seem to have forgotten about all those Black Lives Matter rioters that destroyed, major cities in this country, attacked federal courthouses. We don't see them being chased to the ends of the earth like people who wandered through the Capitol, not to excuse anybody who committed violence or destroyed any property. So yeah, Kamala Harris, the worst candidate for libertarians. You couldn't do a better job. Bernie Sanders might be better. And again, the guy's a socialist, self-admitted, but at least he's good on civil liberties. Kamala isn't.
Another mic drop. Closing statements. What do you think?
I mean, hit the nail right on.
Rhetorical questions. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like what's there to be said that hasn't already been said? Like, there's been no argument to the affirmative, actually, for Kamala. There's been tons of arguments to the negative on Trump, and like I can accept and reciprocate all of those points very well.
Yeah.
But once again, we've said this several times throughout this show.
Sure.
The whole point of this debate was to convince libertarians to vote for Kamala, and I am not even close. I'm honestly extra convinced not to vote for her.
Right.
Like anybody. Like, I don't care. If you're a libertarian, you can vote for anybody. Chase, anybody but Kamala.
And that's what
your
he said.
Answer is better. Anybody.
Yeah.
Like, there's tons of reasons not to vote for Trump, and you've gotten all of them tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a reason, like if you have a debate on why not to vote for Trump, there you go. You've had it all laid out tonight here.
Yeah.
But regardless on who you vote for, if you vote for Kamala Harris at this point, I don't know what to tell you anymore. You've just failed at life. You have no brain cells left. You are not even mildly retarded. You are completely retarded. And I am very sorry that, like, you have the IQ of fucking melted butter in a fucking dish. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Josh Eakle is going to convince you to vote for Kamala. Are you ready?
That nigga's got the fucking IQ of melted butter in a dish. Fuck out of here.
He stands no chance.
He stood no chance.
Addressing
he
some
don't
of the
even
questions
stand.
first. Yeah, I'm going to bounce around because I didn't write these in order. Yeah, Milei has not failed. I mean, he's done pretty good at cleaning up Argentina. He's also got a lot of disagreement with Trump, but I won't get into that because I have a limited amount of time. Section 230 is not.
You're the one that said he failed, motherfucker.
Section 230 is the rule that shields social media companies from liability for content posted on their platform.
We know what it is.
It's been described as the one regulation that built the internet. Tearing down Section 230 would be destructive. I mean, Elon Musk would be sued into oblivion. Okay, if you're a fan of Elon Musk, Section 230 is the reason why he can even run his platform with his own moderation rules. Okay, so, and Kamala has not called to repeal Section 230. Both Trump and Hillary Clinton have, for what that's worth. Globalization has definitely not failed. Globalization has led to the greatest cost of living increase, the reduction of poverty.
He is a man of the world.
The destruction of child mortality, economic liberalization that's happened over the last 100 years has been the greatest boon to humanity that we've ever seen in our history. And Donald Trump as a candidate wants to isolate us from the world, not only from a foreign policy perspective, but by throwing up 20% tariffs and by dropping imports. He is going to not only cost American consumers significant amounts of money, $3.9 trillion to that degree.
Understood.
He's also going to
tell me
destroy
why
jobs
Kamala's
in the United
good.
States because exports will decline due to retaliatory tariffs. And he's going to raise taxes on every single person in this room, unless you're making like over $1 million a year. The root of democracy, I think, is the consent of the governed. I don't know if that's a good answer, but I look at that as kind of the thing that birthed democracies.
Jesus.
And then on China, yeah, I mean, China's a really difficult one. Actually, the whole tariffs thing, I get the argument for some strategic tariffs. I was reading the other day that Donald Trump wants to put a blanket tariff on China, which would include Taiwan if China gets involved in Taiwan in any way, which seems very destructive. I'm not sure if everyone's aware of the dynamic in Taiwan. I mean, the most advanced semiconductors in the world are produced in Taiwan. It's called their Silicon Shield. It's basically like their nuclear weapons program. Because if you invade Taiwan, Taiwan
You're not selling me, nigga.
use semiconductors, which are required in the most advanced machinery and technology. So I do think we need to have a strategic approach. I think Kamala's looked at that. I mean, I think actually, with the exception, there's elements of this bill I don't support, but the CHIPS Act that Harris and Biden passed did result in manufacturing investment locally to build semiconductors in the United States. And that has been, extremely driven the manufacturing investment in the United States in the semiconductor space. I think that's a good strategic approach to reduce our reliance on China. But I will close by saying this: in no way is Donald Trump a pro-civil liberties candidate. We didn't get to have enough time to get into the.
What about Kamala?
There are so many examples related to the specific call to bring the Alien and Sedition Acts back,
which is fucking moron.
This law. These laws allow the president to detain and arrest American citizens without trial. If Donald Trump wanted just to go after immigrants, if all he wanted to do was go after immigrants, he has broad power to go after undocumented immigrants. He does not need the Alien and Sedition Acts. There's a reason why he brought that up. When you look at his involvement on January 6th, read.
Oh my gosh! Shut the fuck up, you loser!
He was personally involved in trying to stop the peaceful transfer of power.
We're 4 minutes
and I cannot devise what scheme he will try to come up with again. And I know that J.D. Vance has said clearly that he sees no problem with this, and he would have overturned it. And I'll close with this, since I'm running out of time.
Yes.
In my entire lifetime, the Libertarians have looked at the Republican Party as our greatest ally. The Republican Party has failed to do that in many ways. It's part of the reason why I'm not a Republican anymore. But I don't expect the Democrats to be the vanguard of libertarianism and small government. What I do expect is the Republican Party to live up to that value. As long as we have a man who wants to spend more, who wants to restrict trade more, who wants to grow the federal government more, who wants to violate your civil liberties more, in the Republican Party,
just like Kamala,
we are not going to have an ally there. And so what we need to do is we need to get him out of the way. And this year, that means voting for Kamala, kick him out of the Republican Party, and then let's rebuild a movement around libertarianism on the right. So thank you.
Show me the results. How bad was it?
All right, everyone, at this point, please whip out your phones one more time and
whip it out, boys.
Vote for the post-debate tally to see which one of the two debaters was successful in swaying more people to their side. So please go ahead and do that now. And as we do that, let me once more thank you all for coming. We really appreciate this. Is our second debate.
Thank you for coming.
Whip it out. Thanks for coming.
Whip it out and make sure. Thank you for coming.
And the topics will again pertain to young folks, the issues that interest them. And please do not plan on leaving. There's an open bar. And the debaters will stick around.
Yeah.
We'll have a little bit of a party.
We signing up. We're taking over, Tim.
Swamp creatures, young voices. Let's go.
I would also like to thank. We have 2,600.
Duke Chastain said it best. Keep underestimating Josh Eakle. I'll keep coming up like the Jeffersons on y'all ass.
Thank you for
Fuck out of here.
This debate. And at this point, let me get a quick view. Okay, some people are still voting. Casey, would we like to make any statements for Young Voices in the future? Any other events we would like to talk about?
Yeah, what else?
Yeah, sure. Up? Just as Heckmat said, we'll hopefully be announcing one more debate before the end of the year. TBD.
We've been drinking, bro.
We'll email
you. You ain't got to worry about
posted
that.
On that.
I
will
drinking.
say we do have a happy hour coming up on November 19th with the groups, the State Policy Network in America's Future. It will be at McHale's Bar and Grill in Midtown. So if you check out joinyv.org, you'll see more details about that. And yeah, hopefully many more debates to come. And have I filibustered long enough?
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Great. It's time for the results.
All right, results.
Roll, everyone, please. For the pre-debate tally, the agree vote was 13.95%. The disagree vote was much higher at 70%.
70%.
The undecided was at 16.30%.
Okay.
The post-debate, we have 8.9% for the agree side. So it's a decline of about 5% for Josh. And for the disagree side, for whether we should vote for Kamala Harris as Libertarians, rose to 91.1%. So that is a change of 20%.
Damn!
Congratulations, Sean.
This shit. Suck a dick, Josh. Eat this asshole whole. You fucking loser.
Bro, Eakle went down by like 5%, and Sean went up by fucking 20. This is like 4-1. Fuck you. Out.
Well-earned win. Congratulations, both of you, for an excellent debate.
Joshua
and thank you
Eakle
one last
is
time
the
for everyone
worst fucking
here and
fed the LP has right now.
Jesus Christ, dude. Like,
oh my God.
I mean, really though. Did you really think it was gonna go any other way?
No, I didn't. But like, I didn't think it was gonna get this gay.
Yeah, I mean, he started. All right, to Eakle's credit, he started in a room that was 85% against him. So, you know,
and then it turned out to like what 92% against him.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here, nigga! Like, what the fuck you talking about right now?
I'm not saying that he did well. I'm saying, you know,
he did horribly. He failed in immaculate proportions.
Some people like the punishment, man. Some people like to be embarrassed publicly. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. He's painful to listen to. He's painful to listen to. Like, the only thing I wish Sean would have done that he didn't do was keep pressing the issue that this is a debate about Kamala and not Trump. So keep fucking coming. Like, we need to hear more about Kamala, which is what you and I were saying the whole time. Like, he needed to push him on that. Otherwise, I think he did a great job. I mean, it was. Yeah, I didn't expect this debate to go any other way. Again, it's one of my favorite people versus one of my least favorite people. It was going to happen.
Like, yeah, Eakle had no chance. He was already coming in with a loser mentality. Like, he did nothing to sell himself. Like, once again, I gave Josh a lot of leeway to like do something relevant, and you just hit the nail on the head. He's not going to talk about anything relevant, anything worthwhile. It's going to be Orange Man bad, and I was just like, no, Tim.
No way.
It can't be that. and you know, I have to admit, coming out of this, you were 100% right. I have to concede the point to you. I concede. Unlike Hillary or Al Gore, I'm going to concede. Yeah. You won this one. All he did was Orange Man bad, so we have to vote for Kamala, and that's not a selling point for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was fucking terrible. And I only know that because I spend way too much time on Twitter. Don't do it. But if you want to see any more of Josh Eakle's bad takes, follow him on X. But please don't do that. Instead, what you should do is follow us on X at Real SwampCast. I'm the one that posts on there the most, but Josh is also there. Josh, where can people find you?
JoshuaHalafka.com if you want to donate to the last couple of days of my campaign. There's going to be some more coming down the pike, but we'll talk about that once we pass Election Day. We'll get into it later. More to come on that. Otherwise, Halafka at Florida for now at Twitter. Come follow me on Twitter. I'm probably going to be off Facebook after the Election Day, so fuck Facebook and fucking Mark Zuckerberg's gay bullshit. Fuck out of here. I hated that shit before. I'm really on there because I'm running for a campaign. I'm gonna be off there after that. Otherwise, free Ross.
Yeah.
Follow us at Swamp Creatures. Join the Discord.
For sure.
It's our swamp. Fuck the Knights. Hell yeah.
That's a lot of references.
Our swamp.
Come join us on Tuesday. See what it's all about. We're going to be hanging out all night. I don't know. Setting up OBS sounds like a pain in the ass. So hopefully Emu can get better. We will submit support tickets. They responded. I called them out on X and they were like, hey, please let us know what happened so we can fix it. So, good customer service there. Capitalism wins again. If it was a socialist co-op, they wouldn't give a fuck. But anyway, come join us on Tuesday. We're going to be here. Like I said, we're going to start probably around the same time we usually do, about 7:30. And we'll go live. And that'll carry us on until at least 12:30. I think we're going to have an election result before midnight. What say you, Josh? Maybe.
Look, I'm off the whole day. I'll be around. I'm going to do my voting on election day like a normal American citizen, not one of these fucking weirdos. Vote for Josh Eakle for Florida House District 105. Vote for Chase Oliver for Libertarian president, because we've learned tonight Kamala and Trump are going to be god-awful dog shit. Maybe Chase won't win, okay. But help us get those delegate allotments, boys and girls. Help us help ourselves in this fucking party.
Hey, listen, if you go to your election and you write in Josh Eakle, I will gift you a sub. How about that? You have to show me. Tag us on Twitter or wherever.
Tag us on Twitter. Write in Josh Eakle.
Yeah, you write him in anywhere, and I'll gift you a sub. That's fine.
Me and Tim will gift you a sub. We're going to split the cost of that subscription. I'm willing to split that cost with you. Right out of the campaign account. We're going to do this all legal like.
There you go. Right out of the campaign.
Hell yeah. We're going to buy fucking votes.
Donate to Josh so he can re-gift you a sub. There we go.
Uh-huh. There we go. Fuck
election
laws. What day?
See you on Tuesday. Good night. Sorry for the fuck up next time.